so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hello, all you positive heads. Welcome to a very special episode dedicated to none other than you, the P-heads themselves. I am your P-head enthusiast and hostess for the day, Alexa Hauser. I have been blessed to have the experience of helping out with Positive Head social media for the better part of a year. And through my digital interactions, I began to realize, as did Brandon, that we have some incredible beings listening to this show who are taking the information that Brandon puts out through the podcast and using it to transform their lives and create wonderful things. You listeners are all a huge, huge part of the life force that propels this show forward through time and space, and we think it's time to bring forth some of you beautiful reflections and delve a little deeper into this collection of energy that is the Positive Head community. So as we shine the spotlight on our listeners, what we'll have them do is share their stories of how they attracted Positive Head into their life, the transformation it's facilitated for them, and what they're focused on creating now that they're in a more positive headspace. Also, this episode of the Positive Head podcast is being brought to you thanks to the support of Gaia. If you're not familiar, Gaia is the go-to source for streaming consciousness content online. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out. Hello, all you positive heads. On this week's P-Head Posse episode, our guest is Positive Head listener Caitlin Parsons. Caitlin is a yoga therapist as well as a life and transformation coach who works with people that are looking to explore their growth and evolution in a deeper way, embodying their essence, power, and leadership through the practices of meditation, breathwork, movement, self-care, mindfulness, and self-inquiry. Hi, Caitlin. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. My pleasure. I'm very intrigued by your intro. It sounds like you're working on a ton of awesome stuff, very in alignment with everything we're doing here. And why don't we just start with you telling us a bit about yourself, maybe like a bit of a summary of like your journey up until this point.
Yeah, awesome. I'd love to. So I actually live in San Diego now, but I'm originally from Boston. So I kind of grew up after high school, went to college. I'm a dental hygienist. I've been doing that for about 12 years. And along that journey, not far in, realized how much pain I was in just from like hunching over people all day. So that's really what got me into yoga, is the pain part of it. And it got me really wanting to explore what other avenues I could do to reduce pain for not only myself, but everyone like me that experiences pain like I did. And so it got me to move out to San Diego to start a yoga teacher training, led me to becoming a yoga therapist, which is a 1,000-hour program compared to a 200-hour is a regular yoga teacher. And through that, my back pain pretty much is down to I rarely ever get back pain anymore. And that's been a lot of the work I do, is helping people a lot with physical pain. And slowly my personal transformation has moved from just the physical pain to really learning how to be myself authentically and to step into a new version of myself, like owning my power and all this stuff I'm really meant to do here. And I feel like I've done so much work, but I'm really just at the brink of what I'm meant to do. So this is kind of how I've started shifting into life and transformation coaching. And I use a lot of the mindfulness, like I shared, self-inquiry, self-care, meditation, yoga, to help my clients really step into and own their power and their greatness and their dreams, and to move past all the anxiety, the disconnect, the overwhelm of kind of life that happens. I think it's easy for a lot of us to get caught up in, social media, and there's so much that we think we need to do. And because this person's doing it, we should do it. So I really help people hone in on why they're here and their essence, and stepping into that and owning that.
Wow. That is, as you're describing this, I'm like sitting here going, wait, yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of a yoga therapist. That's so interesting. That's like a really amazing, it's a really amazing position. Like that's so explain a little more just so I understand. So is it like therapy where someone comes with a problem and then you're saying you use yoga to actually work through that problem?
Yeah, it can be a lot of different things, to be honest. Yoga therapy is really, I describe it as using yoga, like the basics of yoga movement, the mindfulness. There are so many other pieces to yoga than just the physical that people think about, especially people think just, hot yoga, you do hot yoga. Right. But it's way different than that. Yeah. So I worked with a lot of people who, like I said, have physical pain. So yeah, they'd come to me with back pain, with a shoulder injury, with sitting too much, the physical, but also it can be to reduce chronic pain. It can be for cancer patients or survivors that are really just learning to breathe properly. So there's so many different avenues of yoga therapy, but it's really just using the powerful pieces of yoga, but breaking it down into really much more simple, like learning how to breathe, learning how to move our body without having to just go into a downward dog, like how to move our joints properly and to create space in our body and really integral strength, not like the six-pack abs kind of strength. So yeah.
That's amazing. It's so funny. I got an image of, I just got this image while you were describing that of like, in a way, it's like we're all learning it's like we're learning to, with this whole movement towards, like holistic health and like just getting into alignment. It's like, I feel like we're almost babies, like learning to walk again or something, like we're adults, but like we're having to relearn literally how to breathe. It's kind of amazing, but it's also, it's so amazing to know like that so many of us are really taking this step that, there is such a thing as like yoga therapy. I love this. So how did you end up finding Positive Head?
It actually wasn't that long ago, probably a few months ago, I found out that there's a podcast app, first of all, and it changed my life because I was like, I can go on runs or walks or do whatever and listen to a podcast that's inspiring or that I learned something. How cool. So I just started searching, all kinds of podcasts about wellness, about, personal transformation, about all that stuff. And Positive Heads came up, and I've been listening to you guys for a while now.
That is awesome. What is one thing that you think would benefit every positive head who's listening to know or understand as they continue on their own journey?
I think just one of the most important pieces is I think we think that everyone else is so far along and doing all these things, but kind of like what you said before, we're all just big kids. We're all just learning to step into our own selves and our own power, and whatever that is, if that's in the physical body or that's kind of like a mental, and we all kind of get overwhelmed by the social of how we think we need to be or do these certain things. But I think just allowing us all to tune into ourselves and to really take time for your personal growth and your personal evolution is one of the most important things, without needing it to be or look a certain way, but giving yourself the time and the space to do whatever you're meant to do. And actually that I was inspired recently by one of your podcast episodes talking about, I think there was two that I listened to back, so I might be mixing them up, but talking about being in the flow of, I think you used an Abraham Hicks video or audio, but allowing yourself to be in the flow of life rather than forcing things to happen because this person did that and that looks cool, or this person, just kind of like staying in your own lane, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Because everybody is being... everybody's path is different. And that's why it's so kind of dangerous to, it's so dangerous in a way to just put blanket statements over like the ways that things should be done. And I think that's what you were touching on, is like that everybody's doing this, so you should do this. And it's like, well, maybe if everybody's like on Snapchat, for example, talking about social media, it's like, yes, that may be working for them, but for you, you might have like huge traction on YouTube, and that might be great for you. Like that might really vibe with what you're doing, and the people that are looking for your content might be there. So I love that. Like, it's great advice. It's like we all have to start recognizing how individual we really are and how individual our desires are and our paths are.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's huge. And I think that's what we're all like really in the process of discovering. I mean, even you, it's like, how was that for you to go from dentistry? I mean, you're still doing dentistry. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Yeah.
Yeah. But what was that like for you to go from that to yoga training and yoga therapy training? Was that, was that something you had explored before, or was it like a brand new thing for you? And like, did people around you react in any way with this like kind of life change, or?
Oh my gosh, yes. I think that was the hardest part, was that I wasn't fully, I was like 90% connected and really knew that, I've always known that this is what I wanted to do, or not always, but the past 5-10 years, this has definitely been something I've been exploring and slowly stepping into, but without having I'd say, proper confidence and awareness of my power, I allowed other people's thoughts and opinions to sway me or to make me not trust my decision or any of that. So it actually has been the most beautiful, challenging transformation and step into my work. And I think that's a part of my work, is learning to kind of not be influenced by everyone else. And because what I'm doing is not on the path of what a lot of people will do, right? I'm stepping away from a really stable, amazing job that I'm really, really good at, but just not passionate about. And I know that's not why I'm here. And I could stay doing that because that would make my parents happy, and I would have a 401k that's stable and all these things. However, I wake up and I'm not fulfilled, and I'm not like this passionate person when I do that. So knowing now, I know how to kind of step into my power and to recognize when I'm kind of going on a different path that isn't mine, and to come back to it. But it's not easy, and it hasn't been. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what you were just explaining was making me think of something that I've been like a big, something that's been ringing through my mind so frequently lately, has been this idea that we all have been kind of indoctrinated with, that like staying safe, about staying safe, about things that are safe. And I think that's like largely due to, our parents' generation and their generation. And it makes sense that we've kind of come into the world with those kind of ideas about like, you got to have, a stable job. And like you said, the 401k, and you got to be safe, like safe. And it's like, I'm coming to this awareness myself that like, this idea of safety and this box that we think is safe to like live in is actually the most dangerous place to be right now, because it is the recipe for like misery in certain ways, like just having this kind of, it's kind of like a cage instead of protection, right? And so in a way, moving into this space of the unknown, even though before we've been taught to think of that as like the danger zone, it's actually like the safest place to be, because it's where all the things are that we want, right? Like it's where things can manifest. So it's really awesome to hear, I love stories like this. Like I love talking to people like you who are in these very stable things, but are feeling this call and are like following it, because it's such a good illustration for everyone else, like the more of us who can kind of be confident in following our hearts and following our passions and doing the things that we truly feel called to do, the more it gives everyone else permission to do that too. And then the faster things can transform and change within our society. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. My work really right now, my personal transformation is literally stepping outside of all of the boxes that I put myself in, of thinking, and this is a part of how I grew up, kind of like you said, my parents' generation, and letting that really influence me. And it's given me so many positive things about me to be stable and to have all that mindset. However, it didn't allow me to really be fully me because I put myself in all these boxes that I think I need to do and be. And yeah, the moments that I've stepped outside of that, even if it's like a toe outside of the box and the comfort zone, it's like the feeling that I get of like excitement and fulfillment. It's like, whoa, and scariness, of course, but it's been amazing. And that's a lot of the work that I think a lot of us need to do is how can we step outside of the box and be more us? And with that becomes, I think you get the inspiration to do whatever you're meant to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
If that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely it does. I feel that totally resonates with me because I feel like every day I'm discovering a newer version of myself. The more I listen to myself, the more like I actually do what you're saying you're doing, like just following what I feel I'm being called to, the more I'm like, oh, whoa, like there I am. Like it feels more like me, even though I haven't been with that version of me for a while because it's kind of been muted in certain ways. So it really is this like rediscovery. And I'm just wondering, like, what are like the most interesting things or maybe surprising things that like you've used yoga therapy to work with people on?
That's a good question. A lot of my coaching calls, it's as simple as I've kind of explored because I've been doing coaching for the last year, I'd say. So I'm fairly new to it in the grand scheme of everything. But when I jump on, I usually do a lot of my stuff online. So I'll jump on a call and it's like to see people go from, I've started our calls, just, okay, what's going on? What's showing up for you? Let's work through it. And it's kind of like an all over the place kind of conversation. And then now to start with like some breath work, mindfulness, meditation, even if it's less than like 5 minutes, it's crazy how powerful it is for them to just drop into where they're at and like, okay, now have this conversation from like their connected self rather than like a disconnected in the head self.
100%.
So just like breathing and mindfulness and meditation. Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that wild? Like, I love that. That's so true too. It's like all about, I'm an EFT practitioner and I noticed that as well in my sessions of like how I approach the beginning of the session really determines like how you're setting up the environment. And I love like setting up that peaceful space and actually just reconnecting them, like you're saying, to their breath it's crazy how much, I mean, you said this in the beginning of the interview, like, but it's crazy. Like we really don't breathe very much. Like it's funny God. When I tell my clients, I'm like, let's take a breath. They look at me almost as surprised, like, oh yeah, I haven't been breathing. Yeah, that's a good idea. So,
totally.
That's awesome. So you work with people online. How can people, if someone's listening right now and they're like, oh, this sounds awesome to me, like I want to get coaching from Caitlin, how can people reach out to you or connect with you for coaching?
Yeah, thank you. So I have a website. It's mostly about all my yoga stuff, but it's healerswithin.com. So healerswithin.com. You can reach out on the contact page.
Good job. That's a good .com. I feel like that wouldn't be available, but that's good. Healers Within.
Surprisingly.
Yeah.
And then my email is hello@healerswithin.com. But I'm on Instagram. I changed my name not too long ago. So it's _ Caitlin Parsons, just my name. And also on Facebook as well.
Awesome.
With the same thing. Yeah.
Awesome. So they can just reach out and ask you about coaching.
Yeah. Send me a message. Let's talk.
Cool. So we love stories here on this podcast, and I'm wondering if you have any fun or inspiring manifestation stories or synchronicities or anything like that you'd like to share.
Oh, I know. I actually, when you wrote that question, I was like, I don't know that I have anything that feels like exciting or wild.
They don't have to be. Honestly, sometimes I think the coolest synchronicity stories or manifestation stories are like the simplest ones. But I mean, or just any cool story, anything that you feel like something cool that happened to you or anything.
Oh my God.
It's okay. It's
Nothing
fine.
cool ever happened. I don't know why I can't think of
I
anything.
feel like you're a really cool person. I feel like things have to be happening.
They definitely are.
Here's like, I keep thinking for some reason while I'm talking to you, I keep seeing, and I feel like I'm supposed to ask you this. So maybe this is related to it. I keep seeing like something with a patient, like something with one of your patients, like your dentist in your dentist work, and connecting to this, like, that might be totally out of the blue. I don't know, but I feel like I'm supposed to ask you, like, do they cross over at all or something? So maybe
that's hilarious. They definitely do. So I actually, I feel like I'm a dental hygienist. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Or that's part of what I do. And I feel like my work as a dental hygienist is getting everyone that has ever had dental trauma and anxiety. And I see all of them. So a lot of my work is actually calming down patients and bringing their awareness to their breath and their body and their kind of personal power. Because a lot of people who have dental trauma felt like the moment is usually they weren't in control of something that happened. And so a lot of it is like regaining their control to really dictate how the appointment goes. And so I see a lot of patients that only want to see me because they feel so comfortable to just be as they are and to connect to their breath, and I calm them down a lot. So that's kind of the patients that I see, the anxious, the stressed, the ones that have trauma, and to get them to a good experience with it. And I think to connect them to a part of them that they kind of trampled over. I think that's a lot of with trauma. It's kind of like we step over parts, or we feel like we've been stepped over, if that makes sense. And now they're able to kind of rediscover that and rewrite their story, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Because like you're there holding space for them and like in allowing them to relax into it and like see it from a new perspective. I love that. I mean, oh my gosh, I'm sure there's a lot of listeners reading who are like, I need her in my dental office, because I know a lot of people with dental trauma. I know a lot of people that do not like to go to the dentist. So
crazy.
It really is. It really is. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I actually created a meditation and a breathing practice for people who have dental anxiety.
Wow. How can people get that?
Send me an email. That's probably the best way, and I'll send it to you. So it's hello@healerswithin.com, and let me know you have dental anxiety, you want some meditation or support, and I'd love to send it over. Yeah.
That's huge.
It's on YouTube, but it's kind of piled in there. So yeah, just send me an email.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm going to have to ask you for that, because I feel like I need to send that to some people. That's great.
Totally.
Cool. So Caitlin, is there anything else that you feel called to share with the listeners before we start wrapping up?
No, I think just to stay connected to you. And if you have that pull, that desire to do something different, or to step out of what you've been doing, or you kind of have this burning desire inside of you, or maybe it's not burning, maybe it's a gentle little nudge, to listen to that, because it's there for a reason. It's showing up for a reason. And I can't even imagine, I should say, if I did not listen to that gentle nudge of stepping into what I'm meant to do. And it's very clear now that I'm doing it of why I'm here and what I'm meant to do. And if I didn't listen, I'd probably be miserable.
And take it from me, if you don't listen to the gentle nudge, it will get louder and bigger and harder, and you'll hear it. So listen while it's gentle. Take Caitlin's advice. Well, Caitlin, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show and share your wisdom. And if you're listening and you vibe with Caitlin and want to explore her coaching or yoga therapy, definitely reach out to her. I get a really good vibe from you. So like, I'm really interested in everything you're doing. So this was really awesome and lovely. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Of course. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
That's it for this week's episode. If you're a listener with a story to share and are interested in being featured on a future episode of this special series, you can email me at alexa@positivehead.com. Also, if you're craving more consciousness elevating content, be sure to check out Gaia, which is the go-to source for streaming consciousness content on the web, where you can stream an incredible 7,000 plus exclusive videos covering 5,000 years of wisdom. As you all hear Brandon constantly say, it's a daily conscious effort to maintain an elevated vibration, and if you're looking to journey deep down the rabbit hole to do so, then Gaia is the best place we know of to do it. Period. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out. Otherwise, tune in next Friday for another P-Head Posse episode. And until then, as Brandon always says, journey well.